1.4 liter, that go fast. Not rain. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an oil change. Yay! We're going to be doing an oil change on a 2016 Chevrolet Cruze Premier, and we're also going to be doing the tire swap for the winter. So we're going to be taking the all-season tires off the car and rotating the winters onto it. We're going to be making sure that the mating surfaces for the wheels and the rotors are nice and clean, torquing down the wheels. I'm going to go through the oil change with you, the amount of oil it takes, the type of engine it is, and let's not waste any time, man. Let's get right at it. All right, nothing too complicated on this one. Dipstick for the engine oil is right here, located at the back of the engine. Oil filler caps right here, no problem there. You're removing that. That's where you fill your oil. But I think first off, we're going to get underneath and we're going to drain the oil. Quick little tip for you guys as well. If you are unsure as to what engine you actually have in the vehicle in terms of displacement, all manufacturers are mandated to have a vehicle emissions label under the hood, and that label will give you the information that you're looking for. So in this particular one here, some of them are on the fan shrouds, some of them are on the engines or on the side. Getting back to it, this particular one here is actually on the hood over on this side right here. And if you take a good look at the emissions label, you will see that it gives you the information we need. So this car here has a 1.4 liter. Vroom vroom. Another thing I like to do when I'm doing the oil change is we always inspect the air filter. And I'll show you guys how to take that off in a second. So what did I say I was gonna do? I think I was gonna get underneath and change the oil. I love getting under cars. Nope, don't love it. All right guys, we got a 15 mil wrench. The oil pan drain plug is 15 mil. And the hard part is not getting oil in your hands. Oh, I love oil in my hands. Love it, just love it. Especially when you forget a rag. All right, we'll let that drain down and then we'll pull the filter. Well, while we're up here, I'll show you the drain plug. This is the drain plug. It has a seal on it. Normally we just clean it up, make sure there's no debris stuck to the seal, make sure the threads are good, and we're also going to do the same for the oil pan. When we put it back on, we're going to make sure the mating surface is nice and clean. While reviewing some of this important video that I'm taking for you guys, I realized that the whole time that I was filming the oil filter removal, I had the camera facing the light. So guess what I recorded? A big oil filter removal. Was very simple. It almost came off by hand. It was, I used this tool right here, and all I did is just slid it over, a couple of turns backwards, oil filter unthreaded, came down most of the way. I let the oil drain out. When I was done, I unthreaded it, dropped it in the bucket. And that is a lesson for me to learn. Never point the camera towards your light. I have the audio, but just a white video. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, so we're just going to give the oil filter housing mounting surface a little wipe. Make sure there's no debris inside there. Also making sure that the old gasket from the oil filter, the old gasket from the old oil filter did not stay stuck to the housing. You don't double up the gasket on there. All right. Another thing we do, we lubricate the actual mating surface of the seal. Clean oil is what they say. I don't have any clean oil under here right now, so I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put some oil in the oil filter. Alright, I filled the oil filter with some fresh oil. The seal is nice and clean and lubricated. The mounting surface is lubricated. I'm just going to thread that on by hand until it's snug. And give it a little wipe. All I'm going to do is just going to tighten it by hand. There we go, and that's plenty of torque for the oil filter. Just enough where I can't turn it by hand, and I'm quite happy with that. Alright, well, Mr. Drippy Poo back here still leaking. So I'm just going to again give the mounting surface, or the mating surface, a nice little wipe. I've already cleaned my plug up on top. And grab our plug, thread her back in, snug by hand. Give another little wipe. Move my oil bucket so I don't make a big mess. And in terms of torque, again, you're not over torquing the oil pan. Just a couple of good little pulls. Nice and snug, not super tight. Wipe it down so we don't have any drips, so that once we run it later we can see whether or not it's dripping. Alright, get back on top. I'm thinking right now is the great time for Tech Tip of the Day. I'll add the echo in the editing.
Today's Tech Tip is brought to you by
Noma LED lights.
It is always recommended and cautioned to please make sure that when lowering your vehicle, you remove any light that might be underneath it. This could happen. Not only can it cause damage to your equipment in your vehicle, it can cause extreme damage to a man's ego.
This tech tip was not paid for by Noma. It was paid for by me, because now I gotta fix my light. Alright, we're back topside. If you guys have seen one of my other oil change videos, you know that I always go to the manual to find my oil level, or the amount of oil that the engine actually takes. This is usually a really big struggle for me. I always have a hard time finding it, so let's see how long this one takes. 2.2 seconds, right? Alright, what do we got here? Alright, this application for this Cruze Premier 2016 with the 1.4 liter engine oil with the filter requires 4 liters of oil. I'm getting great at this, honestly. Like, I killed that. I can find these like in 2 seconds now. Awesome. Okay, this Cruze 1.4 liter takes a PF64 oil filter. You can buy them from any auto parts store. There's many makes, brands, models out there. I always go with the OEM stuff. I don't particularly care for any other aftermarket stuff. When it comes to the engine oil, this engine here, this 1.4 liter is 100% synthetic oil. Again, it's 5W30 Dexos. Dexos at one time, many years ago, was a synthetic blend with conventional. As of 2 years ago with the green caps, now it's 100% synthetic. So we are going to add, well, we're going to start by adding 3 liters. We're going to pull the dipstick and see how much more we need. Let's get to it. Alright, so she's still down a bit. Obviously, I only put 3 liters of oil in it, so we're going to put another half liter in, check again. Now I'm just going to give it a little start, just to circulate the oil a little bit. And then we're going to give it a couple of seconds just to let it settle. helps if you get the keys. All right, so it looks like she's gonna take the rest of the oil for sure. Oh, 4 liters of oil. Okay guys, we're gonna go ahead and remove the air filter from this 2016 Cruze. On the cover itself, you're going to find that there's 4 Phillips screws. There's one located at the back here. There's one right here. There's one underneath this tube right here. And there's another one on this side. So we're going to start by loosening these ones. Okay, you don't have to worry about losing the screws because they're going to be retained by the cover. They actually stay in the cover. Then we go to our snorkel. We remove this clamp on our snorkel right here. Once the clamp is loose, we're going to pull the snorkel free from the housing. Move it out of the way. Now we have this piece here that comes into the actual rad support. So it's pretty simple. It lifts right here and you have to wiggle it out. It pulls out, set it aside. Now the other screw is visible right down below. All right, so that's loose. Now the cover should just pull off from the back. All right, so we're just gonna flip it over. And there's our filter underneath. Now these filters are a little bit different. They have a plastic retainer with a screen inside. So if you look over here, you're gonna see this little plastic piece that holds the filter inside of the housing. So it's pretty simple. You pinch both sides and then you push upwards. And that releases the filter from the unit and you can pull the filter out. And that's what it looks like. Right there. Now this one was done last oil change, so I suspect it's probably pretty good. I like to check mine with a light. As you can see, I can see the light through there, no problem at all. So I know the filter is nice and clean. One thing I am going to do is I am going to take a vacuum cleaner. I'm going to vacuum out the inside of the housing because as you can see, there is sand and debris inside of there. So I'm just going to give this a quick vacuum. All right, so I've sucked out most of the debris. Now I'm going to reinstall the air filter the same way I took it out. Making sure that it's seated inside the housing. Nice and tight, it's clipped back in. Now if you had a bit of a hard time pulling out this piece, I totally get it, but unfortunately it has to be out so you can access that bottom screw. I know it'd be much easier to put it in now, but I just can't get at that screw with that in there, so I'm going to leave it out. I'm going to start tightening my housing screws once I make sure that it's seated properly. You'll feel it fall right into place. Sometimes the screws are going to be hanging down and they might prevent you from getting it seated properly. So you might have to play around with the screws a little bit. You don't want to over torque them, nice and snug. When it's back in place, this piece will snap in nice and tight. There's 2 locks on each side, which don't really snap, but it is in place. I'm going to reinstall our manifold snorkel or turbo snorkel. And we will tighten up the band clamp again. And that's it, guys. That's the air filter. Okay, I've gone ahead and I've cleaned the mating surfaces of the wheels. Those are the winter wheels that we're going to be putting on the car. And so now we're going to start with the right front. And if you guys see, I have labeled each one of my wheels when I take them off in the spring. I always mark them like left rear, right front. And what I do is I rotate them every season. So why don't we get the car jacked up and take some summer wheels off, put some winter wheels on, baby. Alright guys, that's it. We're all done. So let's recap a little bit. We did an oil change on a 2016 Chevrolet Cruze 1.4 liter. It took a PF64 oil filter and it took 4 liters of 5W30 Dexos, fully synthetic. That was pretty simple. Didn't run into any issues. Took about 35 minutes, I guess, from start to finish. And then what we did, we removed the summer tires off the car and we installed the winter tires. We cleaned all the mating surfaces, both on the wheels and on the brake rotors. Jacked the car up, put the wheel on, torqued all the lug nuts, made sure everything was clean, made sure the tires were on the right side. These are directional tires, which means they only rotate one way. That went pretty well, other than I had marked 2 of the tires left front last year for some reason. Not quite sure if I had a bit too many wobbly pops when I did that or not, so I ended up putting a left front tire on the right rear. And only noticed when I went to the other side, so I didn't videotape me taking the tire off and putting the tire back on, because that would have been just crazy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to label the all seasons that I just took off, and I'm going going to go store those. I checked all the tire pressures. All the tire pressures are set. With this car here, this car does have the TPM, so the tire pressure monitor. These winter tires do not have the sensors inside of them. So she will be driving around with her low tire light on for the whole winter. I do have a tool for that to program the tire pressure sensors. It was like $24 on Amazon. I can put the link down below if you want. You will see it in some upcoming videos. I still have a fleet of winter tires to change. I have my Avalanche, my wife's Buick, the mother-in-law, father-in-law's vehicle, my daughter's Jeep. This is one of my daughter's cars. And yeah, so we're done. I get to go in the house now and maybe like chill out and relax and maybe edit some videos. Who knows? Possibilities are endless right now. It's gonna be great, I think. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Share the channel if you like it. Press the like button. Press the notifications button. Don't forget to subscribe. Share with all your friends. And I really hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. And because I enjoy making them. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you soon. I hate the cleanup part.